Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. On today's tutorial, I will draft a full-scale basic bodice block making use of the bust dart technique. Hi, my name is Ayo and welcome to 011 Clothing Tutorials. On this channel, I upload DIYs, pattern drafting and sewing tutorials. If you haven't subscribed yet, kindly do so and do not forget to turn on the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. So now, let's get right into the tutorial. Thank you. I'll be working with the following items: calculator, measuring tape, a pair of paper scissors. Ideally, a pencil should be used to draft a pattern, but for tutorial purpose, I'll be making use of this green marker pen, ruler and curves, pattern paper. I'm working with the following measurements: bust circumference 39 inches, waist circumference 35 inches, hip circumference 43 inches, front length 18 inches, back length 16 inches, shoulder to nipple or bust point 10.5 inches, shoulder to under bust 13 inches, bust span 8 inches, shoulder to shoulder measurement 16 inches, full length of blouse 26 inches. So I have here my pattern paper and I've already drawn a margin of 2 inches at the top and on the left hand side of the pattern paper. What I intend to do now is to draw a rectangular box that will contain both the back and the front basic bodice pattern. To know the width of the rectangular box, I will simply divide my hip circumference by 2 and I will add 2 inches to it for ease. And this is 43 all over 2 plus 2, which is equal to 23.5 inches. So on this upper line, I will measure and mark 23.5 inches like this. As for the length of the rectangular box, it will be the full length of the blouse, which is 26 inches. So I will measure and mark 26 inches like this, starting from the upper line. I will now square the lines to form a rectangular box. I will now divide the rectangular box into 2 equal halves vertically, so as to demarcate the front and the back patterns. This side will be the center back, while this other side will be the center front. And this is the middle line that will demarcate the back and the front patterns. Now the first thing I will do is to draw the back shoulder line, which is 1 inch from the starting line. This 1 inch is the standard measurement for the back shoulder line. I will square out the line like this. The front shoulder line is 1.5 inches away from the starting line, and this 1.5 inches is the standard measurement for the front shoulder line. I will square out the line across like this. Next, I will estimate the armhole line. and this is estimated using the formula bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches, which is equal to 39 over 6 plus 1.5, which is equal to 8 inches. So I have the choice of either measuring the 8 inches from the front shoulder line downwards or from the back shoulder line downwards. I'll be measuring mine from the front shoulder line downwards because I want a slightly bigger armhole. So I will measure and mark the 8 inches from the front shoulder line downwards, and I will square out the line across to the center back and to the center front. My shoulder to bust point measurement is 10.5 inches. So from the upper line or the starting line, I will measure and mark 10.5 inches like this, and I will square the line across to the center front. My shoulder to under bust measurement is 13 inches, and I will square the line across to the center front. So from the starting line, I will measure and mark 13 inches like this, and I will square the line across to the center front. The under bust measurement is not needed now, but it will be useful later on when I'm altering this basic bodice pattern. My front length measurement is 18 inches, while the back length measurement is 16 inches. So from the upper line or starting line, I will measure and mark 16 inches for the back length, which is also the back waistline measurement. I will square out the line across like this. Also from the upper line, I will measure and mark 18 inches for the front length. The front length is the front waistline measurement. I will square out the line across like this. So the front waistline is 2 inches longer than the back waistline. This lower line will be the hem of the front pattern, while the hem of the back pattern will be 2 inches above the front pattern, the hem of the front pattern. This is because of the 2 inches difference between the front and the back waistline measurement. In your own case, it may not be 2 inches, it may be less than 2 inches or more than this. On the average, it is usually around 2 inches. So I will square out the back hem line measurement, the back hem line like this. So now I'm through with the drawing of all the horizontal lines needed to draft this basic bodice pattern. So now I will do a quick recap of all the lines that I drew. This line is the back shoulder line. This is the front shoulder line. This line is the armhole line, and some people call it the chest line. This line is the bust line. This line is the under bust line. This line is the back waistline, also known as the back length. This is the front length, also known as the front waistline. This line is the hem for the back pattern, also known as the hip line. and this line is the hem for the front pattern, and it is also the front hip line. For the back neckline, I will use 3 inches by 1 inch. I will now use my French curve to draw the back neckline curve. For the front neckline, I will use 3 inches by 3 inches for the front neckline, and I will draw the front neckline using my French curve. Note that the 3 inches by 1 inch and the 3 inches by 3 inches, which I use for the back and the front necklines, are the standard neck depth and neck width measurements. If you want to get your exact neck measurement, simply divide your bust circumference by 12. I will now move over to the shoulder. I will divide the shoulder to shoulder measurement by 2, and this gave me 16/2, which is equal to 8 inches. So on the back shoulder line, starting from the center back, I will measure and mark 8 inches. On the front shoulder line also, starting from the center front, I will measure and mark 8 inches. On the armhole line or chest line, I will also measure and mark 8 inches, starting from the center front and the center back respectively. I will connect the neck point to the shoulder point for both the back and the front patterns using my ruler. I will also connect these 2 points together using my ruler, using dashed lines for both the back and the front patterns. Now I will estimate my bust circumference. Now we estimate my bust circumference plus 1.5 inches for ease divided by 4 is equal to 39 plus 1.5 divided by 4, which is equal to 10.1 inches. So on the armhole line, starting from the center back, I will measure and mark 10.1 inches like this. Also for the front pattern, I will measure and mark 10.1 inches starting from the center front. On this dashed line, I will go up by 3 inches from the armhole line, and I will mark the point. From this point, I will go in by 3/4 inch, and I will mark the point. I will connect it to the shoulder point using my ruler. I will now curve this lower part like this using my French curve. For the back pattern, I will divide the dash into 2 equal halves, and I will mark the middle point. I will go in by 1/2 inch, and I will connect it to the shoulder point using my ruler. I will also curve this lower part using my French curve like this. So now I'm through with the drafting of the armhole. I will now do the center back tightening at the waistline so as to avoid zipper bulge. At the waistline, I will go in by 1/2 inch, and I will mark the point. I will find the middle point between the neck point and the armhole, and I will mark the point like this. I will now connect this 1/2 inch mark to the middle point like this using my ruler. This line is the hem of the back pattern. So from the hem, I will measure 2 inches upwards. I will now connect the 1/2 inch point to this point like this using my ruler. It is now time to draw the darts. I will divide my bust span measurement by 2, and this is 8/2, which is equal to 4 inches. This line is the bust line. So on the bust line, I will measure and mark 4 inches on the bust line starting from the center front. This line is the front waistline. On the front waistline, I will measure and mark 4 inches starting from the center front. I will measure and mark 1/2 inch on both sides of this point. The darts will be using 1 inch dart. I will now connect these 3 points together to form the upper part of the dart. I will also measure and mark 4 inches at the end starting from the center front. I will measure 2 inches upwards from this point. I will now connect these 3 points together to form the lower part of the dart. So the dart ends 2 inches from the hem line. For the back pattern, I will also make use of the bust span divided by 2, which is 8/2, which is equal to 4 inches. So on the armhole line, I will measure and mark 4 inches starting from the center back. On the back waistline, I will also measure and mark 4 inches starting from the 1/2 inch point that I use for the center back tightening. I will measure and mark 1/2 inch on both sides of the 4 inch mark. I will come down by 1 inch from the armhole line. I will now connect the 3 points together to form the upper part of the dart. On the back hem line, I will measure and mark 4 inches starting from the center back like this. I will measure 2 inches upwards because the dart will end 2 inches above the hem. I will now connect the 3 points together to form the lower part of the dart like this. Now I will estimate the waist measurement using the formula waist circumference plus 1 inch for ease divided by 4 plus 1 inch for the waist dart is equal to 33 plus 1/4 plus 1 is equal to 10 inches. So on the back waistline, I will measure and mark 10 inches starting from the 1/2 inch point that I use for the center back tightening. On the front waistline, I will measure and mark 10 inches starting from the center front. I will now estimate my hip measurement plus 1 inch for ease divided by 4, which is equal to 43 plus 1/4, which is equal to 11 inches. So on the back hem line, I will measure and mark 11 inches starting from the center back. On the front hem line, I will measure and mark 11 inches starting from the center front. I will now connect the bust, the waist and hips together like this using my ruler to form the side seam for the back and the front patterns. Now it is time to draw the bust dart. My front length measurement is 18 inches, while the back length measurement is 16 inches. So the difference between these two measurements, which is 2 inches, will give us the bust dart measurement. So from the bust line, I will measure 2 inches downwards like this on the side seam, and I'll mark the point. From the bust point, I will measure and mark 1 inch outwards like this. I will now connect the 2 points together with my ruler like this. I will draw a middle line in between the darts like this. I will now through the dart using half an inch. Using my French curve, I will connect the half an inch point to the armhole like this. I will also blend the lower parts like this to meet up with the original side seam of the pattern like this. So that's it guys, we're done with the drafting of the full scale basic bodice block. Do not forget to like, share, drop a comment and subscribe to my YouTube channel. See you in my next tutorial. Bye and thank you so much for watching.